Hey everybody, welcome to the very first super deluxe time-lapse video from RGBros. So I'm starting off drawing a turkey here, and if you didn't know any better, you would probably assume I was drawing some guy's junk, because that's what I would assume. My brain always goes to the gutter first. I am the writer, artist, creator of RGBros, Josh Davenport, and I'll be stepping you through the old process here. So we're in the pencil mode right now, and just detailing the old turkey. And first off, I'd like to thank all my Patreon patrons for making these longer videos possible and giving me the ability to come in here and do some commentary for you guys and gals. Oh, there's Baxter popping in there. Little blue what's it fella. A lot of people ask who Baxter is or what he is, and I just like to tell them that he's Reggie's junior college roommate. That's as far as I usually take it. Now, is junior college the same as community college? I really don't know. I'll have to Google that later. Here comes Reggie's big dumb head. And I've experimented a lot with, over the years, if you've been following the comic, changing the way Reggie's face is laid out. Sometimes I used to do the eyebrows over the top of the hair all the time, and I've gone to making it a little more natural, putting them underneath his hair in the front there. We'll get back to that first frame, but if you look real close, you can see I put like super Chun-Li thighs on Reggie in that one, which was pretty ridiculous. You go to this derpy turkey number 2. Got to get that little bit of whittle waddle sticking off the edge of the beak there. I'm not sure if I colored that incorrectly. Yeah, I've been doing these little ducky kissy lips a lot more recently. I found I just like doing those. Just two little flaps sticking out. It's like almost a whole heart. You just cut the tip off the end of it. Gives that nice little ooh look. And there's Reggie's hand popping in. I've been thinking a lot about transitioning Reggie over to having 5 fingers on each hand, but I don't know how I feel about that yet. Where are you going to bring in the whiskers? There we go. Redraw those things every single time. I gotta tell you, I don't think I've ever been consistent with how many whiskers are on Reggie's face. I just always want to put a nice little dirt beard on there for him. Give him that slightly confused look. You can't see the super chunk thighs in that second frame. Baxter doing a little bit of karate. Now, none of you have asked me what my setup is here, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you since this is the first video. What I draw my comics on is a Unova 22 MVPU, I think is what it's called, or 23 MVPU. It's kind of like a Wacom tablet. You can order these things off Amazon. This one's nice because it has a remote, kind of like a Wacom tablet does. And I've used a Wacom at work. I'm not opposed to them. I just don't have the money to buy one for myself personally because those things are dang expensive. And I find the color accuracy on the Unova is a little bit better. And yeah, I really like the drawing experience on there. I used to draw on an Intuos tablet for a while when I first started the comic. It really never could get a hang of, drawing on the tablet and looking at the screen. Some people are really great at that. I'm just not one of those people, and I can recognize that in myself. Drew's Reggie's ears a little bit more pointy there than usual. I'm always struggling to get Reggie's proportions exactly right. I never took a figure drawing class in my life. I mean, I went to college. I got a degree in art and never took a figure drawing class. Go figure, if you'll pardon the pun. Get those nice bottom chompers showing on Baxter there. His little dippy arms. Back when I first started the comic, I used to draw Baxter's arms as like just little whip-like noodle things that were coming out. It'd be pinpoints on each end instead of hands even. And after a while, I was like, ugh, I do not like the look of that. So I switched that up. Oh, Reginald. Your tiny hats. There we go. Now, I think I've posted this for my Patreon subscribers before. This will be the first time you guys might be hearing about it. When I first was considering the idea for this comic, I was going to do something much more traditional. It was going to be just like a dog and a flea. So that's where Baxter and Gilbert actually come from. Gilbert the dog. Back then they were called Scratch and Sniff, and Baxter was actually a flea at that point. He was what I was going to be calling a morbidly obese flea. He was gigantic. He had no eyebrows like he has now. He had 2 sets of eyes, and the second set that hovered above his first set was what functioned as his eyebrows at that point. And at that time, he was he started off about the size of the period on the end of a sentence, and just got a little bigger over time. Kept getting bigger because I wanted to put more characterization into him. And maybe a more skilled artist than myself can get a lot of character out of a little pinpoint, but I was just beyond my abilities at the time, and may forever escape my grasp. Who knows at this point? Drawing that waddle in. I like to do my inks on separate layers as I go through. If you notice on the side there, I've got at least 3 layers of inks going on there, so I can draw over my lines. Not have to worry about too much erasing and getting that dirty little. You always get this little nub when I come in to erase a line, cutting into the line next to it, because I get a little sloppy there, and that just keeps you from slopping up the whole drawing with all these little tiny grooves in my lines. I'm also, as you can see, probably just from looking at it, using Manga Studio 5 on here. I also use the newer version of it sometimes, which is just called Clip Studio Paint Pro, I think. And I used to draw, I think I drew one of the first couple of comics in Photoshop, and switched over to this not too long after starting the comic, just because I get really clean lines in Manga Studio 5 without having to, go searching out brushes or, create your own brushes, which, again, somebody more skilled can go down that path. I'm just like, I got time for all that. I got crap to do, like play V'ger games, watch Malvies, that little turkey dew claw in the back there, lovely. Now I'm going to keep pushing this next year, and hopefully some more of you folks will come along with me. But I'm serious. We're going to start a thing. We're going to do Dress Your Bird every November. And every November I'm going to get a bird. I think next year I'm actually going to buy like a nice stuffed turkey or something like that. Not like a real turkey that's been taxidermied or anything, but like, a kind of realistic looking toy turkey or something like that, and put it in a nice suit, kind of like what's in this comic. I'm going to get this thing off the ground because, there's a lot of Thanksgiving traditions as far as like eating and cooking things go, but there's not really like, Halloween, you put up all these spooky decorations. Christmas, you got your Christmas tree. And Thanksgiving is just like, what do you put out, a cornucopia? That's boring. So, just want to try to spice things up. If you guys want to take it and run with it, I'm not even sure if I care if I get credit for it or whatever. I just want to get this thing really going. So I think it'd just be fun. It's fun as hell. Where are we going to find all these tiny bird clothes, though? I'm sure somebody out there can make some bird clothes. You can make your fortune doing Dress Your Bird clothes. And there's the old comic that if you keep watching these videos, you may see pop up over and over and over again. It's the, I think, December 31st, 2014 comic. It was a New Year's comic, but it just got the 3 guys in there, and it's got the colors mostly laid out. I think I don't use the same blue for Reggie's pants anymore that are in that December comic, but everything else is pretty much the same. Baxter's eyes are a different color now. They're a little bit lighter green. They're not that really bright, shocking green. And then same with Gilbert's eyes as well. His started out with like really, really deep blue, kind of like Reggie's pants, and I've since softened that up a little bit. And the color part here. Now I know I jump around a lot because I'm doing a lot of paint bucketing to start the color off, and you guys are gonna have to tell me if you want less of the video to be this. Then in the future I can start trimming it down a little bit, giving you more of the pencils and inks, whatever y'all want. I mean, I want to make this enjoyable for you. I already got all my kicks in drawing the damn thing. Here we go. I think I'm about to get into the backgrounds now. Yeah, I like to make these kind of grayish tones and go in and add those little dots back there. You know, just I use those little slashes a lot just to kind of give visual interest to the background, kind of make the guys pop out a little bit more from it. Yeah, add some carpet in there. One of these days I'm going to go through and just like map out all the rooms in the home that the boys live in. But I usually color the walls one of two colors. Usually go with like a drab green or blue. And not making an appearance in this comic, but it does make an appearance in the old comic. I'm drawing the colors for the palette is the old green couch that's been in there since the first comic way back in the beginning of 2014. It's almost like another reoccurring character. Comes in all the time. I haven't added like a character tag for it or anything, but you know, unofficially, it's officially a character. Getting all my little shadings and whatnot. Some little hatches in the pretty little hatch marks in the turkey suit. Gotta have those turkey suit hatch marks. There we go, adding more visual interest. I know you guys are excited to see it switch back and forth between Photoshop and Manga Studio. Here comes the really exciting part where I'm laying in the text, because I don't draw text, because my handwriting is absolutely atrocious, and I will freely admit that any day of the week. I like to use these text. I really wish I was better at lettering hand by hand. Maybe one day I'll get better at that, but I highly doubt it, because I've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and I haven't put a ton of time into fixing that hand lettering, so I don't know if it's going to happen. Jeez, look at that giant block of text. A lot of people are like, oh, trying to be as as unverbose. I don't know, that's definitely the wrong way to say that. Using as few words as possible, letting the images really speak for themselves, which sometimes I do, and sometimes I feel like I go a little overboard with the text. I don't think I go too crazy in this one. Like, yeah, the first and last panels got a decent amount of dialogue going on, but like I've told a couple friends of mine, like I come from a background of writing sketch comedy and scenes and things like that. So sometimes I get a little too into the wordplay or building a scene by laying out big blocks of text like this. And that's why down the road I've talked about doing animations based on the comic, and I'd really like to get into writing some scripts for that and get on actually making a few of those. And who knows, the Patreon goes a little better, I might have time to get in there and do some animating, which would be great. That's like that's one of the things I really want to do with the comic. And get these little, not so hot on the tails either. I've recently changed how I do those like super exciting word bubbles. Go in there and lay down some white paint over the top of those, make them disappear. And here comes some of my beautiful hand lettering. You can see why I do not do this for everything. Big block. I'm like that kid who's doing the happy birthday banner or whatever and gets like happy bird, and then have to squeeze in today in like the size of where one letter would go. I think John Mulaney has a really good joke about that in one of his stand-up things. But yeah, that's totally what I do on that junk. And we're switching away. So we're getting close to the end here. I want to thank you guys for hanging in, and the girls too, everybody. I say guys a lot, but I just mean whoever is listening. All right. Thanks for checking out. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Peace.